Hi, welcome back to PennLive.com/Penn State football. I'm Dustin Hockensmith with Greg Pickel. Just doing a state of Penn State recruiting. It's not a fast time when it comes to news. Obviously, no commitments since Junior Day weekend, February 27th. Got two of them then. But the offers are going out. The visits are coming in with spring practice. Just give us the latest this past weekend, and then on Monday as well, the 28th, March 28th. About who was on campus and what they mean to Penn State recruiting going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a nice weekend for Penn State. It really was. On Friday, of course, they had off Saturday and Sunday for the holiday, but on Friday they had a pretty good group in. Obviously, Lamont Wade was one of the headliners of that trip. C.J. Thorpe, the other one. They had about, I'd say, probably close to 15, 20 kids on campus. A group from Michigan came up from Cass Tech. Again, we've talked about this before. It's great to have them on campus, but your shot at getting any of those kids isn't really that good. But so the two to know, Lamont Wade and C.J. Thorpe. Penn State, I think, is in play for both of them. Thorpe, definitely. Wade, obviously, he's been on campus a lot, but it's going to be a battle between West Virginia, Pittsburgh, Ohio State, Penn State. We've talked about that endlessly. I mean, this is a kid that it really is going to visit all those schools some more, and I don't necessarily think he needs to stay in Pittsburgh or Pennsylvania for that matter. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. C.J. Thorpe's a kid that's going to take a few more visits, and I think he's going to decide. And truthfully, at this point, I'd be surprised if he didn't pick Penn State, but you never know after he makes an SEC swing later this month. So those were the guys from last week. Yesterday, there were some kids on campus for spring practice number 6, the one that stands out the most, Eric Douglas. He's a 3-star out of North Carolina, not particularly a state Penn State's recruited all that well, and I think they probably made up some ground with him yesterday, and we're recording this on Tuesday, but it's also a kid that, again, it's difficult to really like Penn State's chances with that unless you get him back again somewhere down the road.
And this will be a consistent theme for the next few weeks anyway. A trickle of visitors at the least. I think some weekends will shape up to be more significant than others. Anytime you get a 5-star on campus, that's a significant weekend. But the next handful of weeks, we'll be talking about the same thing, visits there. And how about offers that are going out? It seems to me, just looking at it from a macro perspective, that offensive line has seen more offers than other positions.
Yeah, that's been pretty much like that since signing day, really. I think if you went back and counted all the offers Penn State sent out, they've almost all been the offensive line. When you go back to February, they offered some guys out of New Jersey. The Martin kid comes to mind. Warren Carter comes to mind. So they've been sort of looking, for the right kind of guys, and I think that obviously the odd logical indicator there is that Matt Linegrover, offered, either guys he liked when he was at Minnesota or guys that Penn State had looked at that he now got to evaluate and decide, okay, watch some film. You get a kid to come to campus, and maybe you take a shot. They did with the kid from Connecticut, Andrew Stuber. So we'll see where those things end up. Obviously it's a situation where with new coaches and Tim Banks to it, not as quite as high a degree, but Tim Banks in the secondary as well is going to go through that same process here at some point. But the offer scene's been slow, and Penn State's caught up in both classes, so they don't really have to worry about that too much. They had a lot of offers out to 2017 and 2018 kids already, but you can definitely see that they're trying to let those two coaches sort of drill down on guys that maybe Penn State didn't offer yet that they would like to offer, and then once they come to a consensus, those kids get offers.
So there you go. There's not a lot going on really on the Penn State recruiting scene. It's a slow time. We haven't been that accustomed to slow times when it comes to Penn State recruiting with the way the last two classes have shaped up in the early going. But Lamont Wade and some of these other big fish that are in the Mid-Atlantic region, that's a topic for another day, and we will tackle that sometime. But I'd like to see a little bit more movement in their recruiting. That's kind of the problem here, is that there's not a lot of movement in some of these 4- and 5-star kids recruiting just yet, but there will be, and we'll bring it to you as soon as there is. That's Greg Pickel covering all your Penn State football recruiting needs for PennLive.com. Stick with us until next time.